Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday and sometimes Fridays. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand, Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone. All right, I have no updates for you guys for the first time in a very long time. So before I get into the stories for today, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Please Spotify star rate us. We're trying to get to 1,000 Spotify star ratings by the end of the year. Actually, I do have one update for you guys. High Stakes, their recent episode from Friday, is like randomly going viral on Spotify right now. They have almost 200,000 listens on that one episode from Spotify. So go show them some love. Go subscribe, rate them because I'm so proud of them. I'm so happy. This is like the win that we need. All right, the first story that I have for you guys is I'm going to break down the conversation around Sephora's Christmas ad that's featuring Mariah Carey and the backlash that they are receiving for this ad being quote unquote out of touch. So on November 1st, Mariah Carey announced it was officially the holiday season with a new ad for Sephora, and consumers are not loving it. The ad, which has already surpassed over 100 million views on TikTok, shows the singer catching a mischievous elf played by Billy Eichner, sneaking off with luxury beauty products from Sephora.
Bad news, Mariah Carey. The elves are striking this year. Elf revenge for putting us through holiday hell. Santa's helper quit. I'm pawning all this so I can afford elf therapy. Christmas, it's canceled.
So when he says, I'm pawning all of this, it's luxury makeup from Sephora. And then Mariah Carey turns him into a snowman before making her signature defrosting entrance, which is obviously a nod to her viral holiday meme. Viewers were quick to draw parallels between the elf's strike storyline and what is currently going on in the labor market around the world, and have accused the ad of making fun of workers demanding fair pay and better conditions. Creator Regina George, her video has gone fairly viral for this criticism.
I don't know about you, but the American people have been treated pretty badly this past year. So it feels like there's a direct correlation to current times and this dialogue. He's resorting to stealing so he can afford health care. Marketing is an intentional business. You want to build something that resonates with the masses and the general public, something that attracts all kinds of age groups, especially in a commercial where it's Mariah Carey. And the message that I received from those few lines is that he works for an employer who lives in a gigantic mansion, who doesn't pay a livable wage, and also does not want to provide health care. Does that sound familiar?
So the general sentiment from people who feel uneasy about the ad is that it seems like Sephora is mocking the working class and making fun of boycotting with the line about canceling Christmas. A lot of people have also noted that Sephora, or at least a lot of brands sold at Sephora, are on the boycott list. So they believe this ad could be a response to that. People feel like this ad is mocking consumers, especially American consumers, while simultaneously asking for our money. And I want to note too, there are of course people who feel like it's not that deep. This is just a fun holiday ad. You know, these criticisms are reaching. There's of course that camp as well, but I'm here to specifically talk about why people have an issue with the ad. So yeah, I feel like if they released this ad 10 years ago, it would have popped the fuck off. But 10 years ago was a very different time. I believe that Sephora thought that by tapping into youth zeitgeisty culture, it would land maybe in the way that like satire lands. Like I do believe that this ad is in response to the boycott. I agree with people there. And I believe it's in response to everyone's economic stress and all of that. But more than anything, I think that this is an effort from Sephora to tap younger consumers by reflecting themselves back to them, almost in like a referential humor type of way. Because even though obviously Mariah Carey is not Gen Z, I feel like the iconicness of Mariah Carey is actually very Gen Z. In terms of like pop culture and the holiday season, she has had quite the renaissance just in the last few years, and TikTok has played a big role in that. And I think the elf being like, I'm gonna go on strike, I need therapy, like I really do think that that was them being like, oh my God, this will resonate with Gen Z. They love therapy. They'll think this is so funny. This is so them. I think they thought that this would get clipped like all over TikTok that people would use this as sounds. Like the Venn diagram of young people who care about luxury makeup and young people who care about pop culture is probably more a circle than anything. But I think that this ad, aside from being super tone deaf, and I completely agree with a lot of the criticisms, it is very dated. It gives me like, hello, fellow kids. Like, that's what this gives me. That being said, there are also a lot of people who believe that it was intentionally a counter marketing campaign, almost like the American Eagle campaign, where they put out an ad where they knew it would be a bit edgy and it wouldn't land with everyone, and they were okay with that. Like, they were making it clear who they want their audience to be. And I don't know if I totally agree with that, because we know that makeup is typically recession proof, because when people can't afford other luxuries, they will buy like a nice lipstick, because in theory, in the scheme of things, it's cheaper to spend $30 on a lipstick than to buy a new pair of jeans or to go on a holiday or whatever, like all the other luxuries that you're having to cut from your life. So yeah, I don't know if I think that they were trying to isolate consumers, because makeup tends to actually boom and find like new consumers amid economic hardship. So I don't know if I totally believe that. It feels more like a Sephora releasing an ad that says like, this Christmas, basically, fuck your problems, buy expensive makeup like we know you will anyways. And this was intentional, knowing that people still do buy expensive makeup in dire times. I've also seen a lot of people say that this is going to backfire for Mariah Carey, because they feel like her iconicness around the holidays and like All I Want for Christmas Is You, that has now been tainted because of this ad. I think the reality is like right now we just live in a time where like you just have to be a bit more careful. Like brands have to be a bit more considered. They can play with their marketing and be a bit edgier. I mean, you can still be edgy and playful in ways that don't offend people, don't get me wrong. But, you know, I think we are living through a very specific moment in time, and they need to be incredibly like hyper aware of that, even though it might not feel fair, even though, you know, it might like stifle their creativity or like whatever the argument could be. At the end of the day, like you have to respond to the times. You have to meet your consumers where they're at. And time again, consumers are saying, this is where we're at. Please meet us here. Don't go further than this. And brands constantly keep pushing the envelope and going further and just basically being like, fuck you guys. And that's kind of how it feels. This is kind of a random one, but it like, okay, the next story that I have for you guys, this might sound like a random one, but I promise there is a greater meaning around standum culture that I'm going to touch on. So Ariana Grande had a delayed flight, which led her to miss the Wicked premiere in Brazil earlier this week. So this is for the Wicked for Good, which is the second installment of the Wicked series. So Ariana, Cynthia, and other cast members were expected to be in attendance, and while Cynthia made it, Ariana was forced to skip the event. In the lead up to the event, Ariana posted on her Instagram stories saying that she wasn't going to make the premiere due to issues with her flight. She said, "Brazil, I can't believe this is happening, and I am beyond devastated to be sending this message. A few hours ago, my team and I had to deplane our flight as they had to do maintenance on the plane due to a safety issue, and it will not be taking off until 11 a.m. tomorrow, which means I will not be making it in time for the Wicked for Good Sao Paulo premiere. My team and Universal have tried every single thing possible to fix this. We've searched every other flight, overnight, early morning, connecting flights, commercial, and also private options, and absolutely nothing was available or possible that would get us there in time. Even in attempting a private option, there is a permit necessary in order to fly from here that takes time to attain. I'm so heartbroken that I'm unable to be there with you all. We sincerely tried everything we could, and I apologize from the bottom of my heart." So yes, of course fans are going to be upset that she's not going to be able to make it. However, Ariana also started receiving threats and backlash from stans, which is obviously so inappropriate, some of whom were mad that she could no longer attend, especially because it may have been kind of like, I guess, their only chance to see her, given how small/short her upcoming Eternal Sunshine tour is. She then went on to share another story after receiving this backlash, offering more context about the situation. Quote, "Please don't wish danger on us. We did everything we could, and I promise you no one is more upset than I am, I promise." And then she explains kind of her scheduling and how this all happened. The fact that people would think that Ariana Grande, who is the star, I mean, she's one of the biggest stars in the world, but she is like the star of this movie, in addition to being a giant star herself. And Wicked would be one of Universal's biggest blockbusters coming out. For us to assume that Universal and Ariana Grande's team together wouldn't have been literally going to the ends of the earth, sparing no expense to get her there if they could, is wild. Like, of course they did. Of course they tried everything. I just think it's such a wild assumption. This is like a prime example of peak standum entitlement. It's so toxic. She does not owe you an explanation of her schedule to show you why she could not make a work obligation. This is work for her at the end of the day as well. The fact that she had to over-explain herself at all, it's so disappointing. Okay, and the last story that I have for you guys, this is a bit of a short one, but the 20-something girlies on TikTok have been doing some sleuthing, and they believe that the Acquired twins are about to launch a clothing brand called Fifi. So the Acquired twins, quote unquote, are Bridget and Danielle. They are New York City TikTokers. And this whole like speculation around their clothing brand started because Bridget, she used to go by Acquired Style, which is why everyone calls them the Acquired twins, because Acquired Style was a much bigger account than Danielle's, her twins. But earlier this week, Bridget changed her name on socials to her real name. So she changed it from Acquired Style to Bridget. And this got everyone talking and wondering, like, why did she do this? I wonder if there's a reason behind it. And then one internet sleuth, Sam DeLess, thinks she figured it out, and she made a video that's going pretty viral.
And I think she did it because the twins are starting a clothing brand. Here's my proof. I tried to pause this at the right time because it looks like she's wearing pants that say Fifi on the butt, which would be their brand. So I went and looked that up in the US trademark office, and that was filed as a trademark at the end of July, and it's filed for apparel and online retail services. So then, just to double check, I went and looked for the brand, and they both follow this page that says coming soon.
So there are now some screenshots floating around on TikTok that people have taken from their videos where it looks like they're possibly wearing this clothing brand. And it looks very 2000s inspired, which is fun. Like, I think there's still going to be elements of Y2K that pop up in trending pieces, but the actual kind of renaissance, like the nostalgia of it, I feel like we've kind of passed it a little bit, but we'll see. These girls are super influential, so I'm interested to see if they're able to sell it a clothing line. Anyways, guys, that's it for Mini Scroll today. A bit of a shorter one today, but I will have an episode for you guys tomorrow, a Friday Mini Scroll. So as always, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. I love you guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.